Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are wrestling with an absolute beast of a book, Thomas Piketty's Capital in the 21st Century.
It really is huge. We're talking 700 pages, 15 years of research, data going back centuries.
And our mission today is to, cut through all of that and get to the simple, kind of terrifying math at the heart of it all.
And Piketty starts this whole thing not with a graph, but with a punch to the gut. The Marikana mine tragedy in South Africa back in 2012.
I remember that. Police shooting striking miners. 34 people killed.
It's a brutal image. You have workers demanding a living wage on one side and on the other. Mine owners, stockholders, protecting their returns from thousands of miles away.
And that's his central tension right there. The violent gap between money you earn from labor and money that just makes more money by itself.
Right. It sets the stage for him to just demolish this idea most of us grew up with.
The Kuznets curve, right. This old theory that as capitalism gets more advanced, inequality just naturally shrinks.
The rising tide lifts all boats. Fairy tale. Yeah. He calls it a total illusion. Piketty's data shows we are not heading for some stable middle-class future.
We're actually going backwards, drifting back to the Gilded Age.
And it's not a mistake. He says it's a feature of the system. That's where he brings in this idea of the U-shaped curve.
Okay, what does that look like?
Well, if you graph inequality, back in 1910, it was sky high. Massive gap. Then, for the whole middle of the 20th century, it just collapses.
That's the golden age we hear about, the strong middle class.
Exactly. But Piketty's bombshell is that this period, it was a historical accident.
Hold on. The existence of a strong middle class was a fluke. That's unsettling.
It is. But think about what happened. 2 world wars, the Great Depression. That chaos literally destroyed the wealth of the old elite. Their factories were bombed, their bonds were inflated away.
So the playing field is leveled by force, not by choice.
Precisely. And since the 80s, that ratio of capital to income, how much wealth is out there compared to what we earn, it's been climbing right back up.
We're heading back to what he calls patrimonial capitalism, where what you inherit matters more than what you earn.
And the engine driving all of this is a tiny formula that made the book famous. You've probably seen it. $2 dollars.
Right. $2 is greater than 2. It looks like algebra homework, so break it down for us. What does that actually mean?
It's so simple, it's scary. R is the rate of return on capital. Think profits, dividends, rent. Historically, that return is about 4 or 5% a year.
Okay, so money invested just grows by itself.
Then G is the rate of economic growth. That's basically how fast wages and the economy as a whole are growing. And that's usually only like 1 to 1.5%.
So simply put, wealth grows faster than work.
The past devours the future. That's the headline. Old money just accumulates on its own way faster than anyone can work to catch up.
And he uses a literary example for this, which I thought was brilliant, from Balzac's novel Père Goriot.
The Rastignac dilemma, yes. This cynical character, Vautrin, he pulls aside a young, ambitious law student.
And he just lays out the math for him.
He basically says, look, kid, you can work yourself to the bone and be the best lawyer in Paris, and you'll still be, just okay. Or you could marry that rich heiress over there, do nothing, and be set for life.
It's a horrible choice, but mathematically, he's right, isn't he?
In the 19th century, absolutely. And Piketty says we're right back there. You have to ask yourself, is the path to security getting a promotion, or is it inheriting property?
That is just bleak. So if the math is rigged, where does it lead? Do we get a world owned by, a handful of billionaires?
That's exactly his fear. He calls it oligarchic divergence. It's not that one country will own another. It's that the top 0.1%, they're becoming a kind of global tribe, separating from the rest of us.
So a billionaire in New York has more in common with a billionaire in Shanghai than his own neighbor.
Right. So if the system does this automatically, is there an off switch?
Or are we just stuck in this spiral?
He does propose a solution, but he's the first to admit it's utopian.
Let me guess. Taxes.
A progressive global tax on capital. Not on what you earn, but on the pile of wealth you already have.
A wealth tax, combined with total financial transparency, so you can't just hide it.
He argues it's the only democratic tool we have to stop this endless concentration. Without it, there's no natural force to put on the brakes.
It's a huge idea.
Yeah.
And it really makes you look at your own life. Where does your financial security come from? Your labor or your assets?
And that leaves us with the real challenge, I think. If the stable middle class of the 20th century was just an accidental byproduct of war, what does a peaceful 21st century look like if R keeps beating G? Can democracy actually get control back from capitalism, or are we all just along for the ride?